Hi, it's Daniel from the Lack Factor. Today I am presenting you with a house that I renovated. When I'm not out traveling around, enjoying all those delicious dairy-free foods. This was a house that had been abandoned for 10 years. This is some inside pictures of the kitchen right here. Here is the bathroom. The house was on auction and I was able to buy it and then fix it up. Here's some wallpaper starting to peel off in the house, some nasty carpets, tons of stains on it. Of course, all moves start with the U-Haul truck, right? What would life be without the good old U-Haul truck? Pack it all up with all your stuff as best you can so that hopefully you don't have to make too many trips, and then hopefully nothing shifts and breaks when you get there. The fun thing about buying a house that is on auction and from banks is that you often get no keys. So there's just a simple little lock pad that you're given a code to, and you punch in the code, and then you'll have to take off the lock set and put on your own lock set with a key that will work for the door. Now, of course, get into the house. First things first, had to get the water on. And unfortunately, the water pipes were very old and corroded. This is just nastiness. The guy from the city tells me it will blow up at any point. So the cool thing is that the city actually pays to dig through the street, but you have to pay on your property. So I had to put in a whole new pipe, a whole new water meter, water service basically coming into the house. So that was step one. Once that got done, I could then come up and move on to the bathroom again. Take a look at this bathroom. Of course, toilet, floor, all had to go. Just completely nasty. So replaced it with a new floor, new toilet, of course, and I ended up keeping the pedestal sink. Painted the walls, nice different color. It's kind of freshens it up a little bit. On the pedestal sink there was an old faucet though that I didn't really care for, just aesthetically, and it wasn't turning right, so went ahead and had that replaced with a newer style faucet that I thought matched much better. And of course it even glows up in the dark, right? Who would have known? Pretty cool little things like that, right? At night when you need to find it. The house also has a bathroom upstairs with 2 sinks in it, kind of old style sinks, but I left those in place. The toilet unfortunately was broken in the back, the whole tank of it, so I had to have someone come out and change that out. Of course I had to dispose of the old one and painted it up, freshened up the bathroom, put on again some new faucets, which really helped. Beautiful view from that window in the fall. There's this beautiful tree that would hit the neighbor's property there. Just beautiful, beautiful tree. So again, the house kind of looked old and tired from outside. Needed some new painting and stuff like that. Of course, always have to clean up the landscaping with houses that sit for a long time. Some banks are nice with property management. They'll come by and clean a little bit. They might mow the lawn, but there's still all the residual volume that just really starts to build up. So it's amazing when you just start cleaning up the front of an outside of an old home that's been sitting vacant for a while. People will come by and they'll notice that things are starting to change in the neighborhood, and they'll introduce themselves to you. It's one of the best parts of restoring old houses. Just painting the door, getting the flag, and making sure everything looks clean for the neighbors. It's always a real good part of doing this. Put down some little stones to try and get around the house out to the back of it there. The grass, unfortunately, because of so many years of neglect, was not growing very well on that side of the house. So this just seemed like a much better way to go rather than trying to replant everything. Plus it was just so dark that there wasn't a lot of sunlight on that side of the house. However, on the other side, had to put in some rose bushes, right? And I bought this real cool Metro shelf. I actually got this at the thrift store for like $5. And then on the Metro shelf, you can do all kinds of different plantings. There's a cedar plant box, which you can change up. There's obviously some other planters on the top and then planters on the bottom. you can just change it all around depending on the season, depending on what your needs are. Here's some different potted plants that I could put on it. I also love planting hydrangeas. Those always come out pretty nice. Just a great way to use the Metro shelf and give that warm welcome feel from outside. Also some natural elements here. Love the plants that can also be used inside as herbs after. The bottom of the part of the foundation of the house was just so rugged from all the years of neglect and nobody living there that I decided to put some paint on it. And it really started changing things. I smoothed over the front stairs there and of course made it all one continuous painting. So after the front's all cleaned up, come back into the house, and of course up here in New England, winter was coming, had to turn on the heat. Unfortunately, all the heating pipes in the house were not winterized properly, and there were several breaks within the pipes everywhere all throughout the house. The first floor, I don't know if I would call it luck, but someone had actually stolen all those pipes from the basement. So plumber had to come in and re-pipe the whole bottom of the home. But going up to the second floor, they had to chase it all throughout the ceiling and find all the breaks everywhere, all throughout the forced hot water heating system. And then of course, resolder where all the breaks were. This process went on for about 3 days. A set of 2 plumbers going back and forth, air pressurizing everything, trying to figure out where all the leaks were, trying to figure out what was going on. Of course, it would have been really helpful had I had a map of where all the pipes were, but I didn't have that. The bank or the previous homeowner did not give it to me. So, unfortunately, holes everywhere, all throughout the kitchen, living room, throughout the whole first floor. This is actually all of the breaks that were in the pipes. Pretty nasty. But it's got to get done because you need the heat. Otherwise, you'll freeze. New England does get very cold, for those that don't know. We can get to -10 up here, -15 sometimes with wind chills. So you definitely need your heat. Had to then go through and fill in all the holes, replaster the ceiling. That was obviously lots of fun. But it kept me warm. That's a good thing. So from the ceilings, let's move down to the floors. Let's take up these old nasty, smelly carpets. A trick that I like to do when I pull up carpets, rather than getting huge dumpsters, is actually to break it down into small sections so that I can use trash bags to carry it all away. And whether or not you have a bin outside or like a trash bin, depending on your company, you can also pay for some extra bags on the side, which is a lot cheaper than getting a whole dumpster. Once I pulled up all the carpet, if you look over there by the wall directly in front of the heating grate, you can see years ago where there was a previous bathroom. That was definitely the indention of where the toilet was. So it was interesting to see the history of the house as it came through time. The house was much smaller and there was another addition built onto it, I think in the 80s. Put down just some vinyl plank flooring, just much easier to clean, much more modernized, and gets rid of those smelly carpets. Got this at Home Depot for a great bargain. It's about probably $129 per square foot without the labor. Of course, once I started in the living room, had to keep on moving, had to do some of the stairways, and then of course falling onto upstairs, trying to get rid of all of the nasty carpet that had just been lingering in the house for a long time. I think especially when houses sit for a while, the kind of cooling, heating without any, there's just so much temperature fluctuation, there's a lot of humidity, and the carpets really start to pick up a lot of that stench. So definitely anytime I restore an old house that's been vacant for a while, I definitely recommend taking up the carpets. My budget would not allow to do floors everywhere of the vinyl nature, because I did start running out of a little bit of funds there. So in the master bedroom, actually, after I pulled up all the carpets, the pads, the 1,000 staples, the tack pads, everything, all that stuff, I ended up actually just leaving the floor exposed as is. Cleaned it up, and you'll see in a little while, I just painted it and left it in its raw state. Worked out quite well. Going back to the kitchen again, I had to really do a lot of work here. Has this kind of 90s green floor here with those yellow walls. This combination was not working for me at all. Someone had also used some of the flooring to make a backsplash, which was kind of, in my opinion, a little tacky, as well as different style flooring here on the island in the middle of the kitchen. So of course I had to take that flooring off of the walls, and the paint color just really gave it a dark feel because it was in the backside of the house. So trying to brighten things up, brought in a new backsplash and put that together on here. I love this one that you can buy from Home Depot because you kind of just cut the sheets as needed. You get those little tile cutters, and you don't really need a wet saw, which is really nice. It's just much easier to use. So you kind of just put on the grout and stick it right on the wall, and it comes out quite well. I was very, very happy with this product, and the price is actually very affordable. I used some spacers on the bottom because I wanted to give an offset and do a run of just some regular plain white marble tile. Just kind of give that balance between the backsplash and the other tile. Of course, also in the kitchen, gotta have some shelving. So I actually found some old parts of, like, I think it was like a headboard out of a bed that was in the basement of the house. I used that, I cut that up, sanded down the sides a little bit, and made some shelves in the kitchen to hold some of the glassware and plates and stuff like that. Made 4 of them, 2 on each side of the kind of porthole-ish window in the kitchen. You can kind of see the backsplash there that I finished. I'll show it to you a little bit more. Picked up these coffee signs, pretty cool, at the Salvation Army. They were only a couple of dollars each. And here it is here with the backsplash and with the shelves. So ended up with 6 shelves total. And of course the holders and everything you can buy at Home Depot or any kind of craft store. And I love those kind of little boxes, the produce boxes, old style, that you can put on the wall and store some tea, coffee, stuff like that. Here's the sink, and what I'm showing you here is I had to switch out the faucet here because it was leaking, and I had a plumber come in and put in this new faucet for me. Here in Massachusetts, plumbers have to switch out faucets and do all that work for you. So again, back to the kitchen how it was before, and I just love this reveal. Hold yourself for this. Look at the brightness, how it changes to the new kitchen. New lighting. I went with green for the color of the cabinets. Just thought it gave a real nice contrast. And it was paying homage to the old green floor. So if you remember, there was green on the floor here. And of course, that weird white floor tile on the island. But freshened it all up by putting white on the floor and white on the walls and green on the cabinets. Also added an extra kind of standalone island on the right. Behind the stove, I just did some of those faux tin ceilings, kind of panels. I put them behind the sink to give that backsplash look there. Here's just a couple of different viewpoints. This is one of my favorite kitchens. I love to sit around this island, and great place for games, card games, dinners, family stuff. But so right off of the kitchen where I'm taking this picture right now is a kind of open space dining room. So you can have a table here that can seat 6, 8, 10 people, and then you also have that island over in the kitchen where you can fit a bunch more people. Here's the living room again. This is when the carpet was there. Again, I took off the carpet, painted all the walls, got rid of that gold color, and went with white here. So new flooring is down, obviously some furniture. To the right over there, you see that little sitting area. It's another room there. I also changed out this flooring so that it would match with the new floor that I put in from the living room. But again, did keep it as a sitting room, kind of rather formal, but changed out the light fixture. Just put in some couch and seating and pictures, stuff like that. Going back to the bathroom that we talked about earlier, again swapped out that floor, painted the wall, did one accent wall, that pink color, and as well as the left side of the closet there, the shower. And then here's back into the master bedroom, the smelliest carpet in the house. Pulled up this whole carpet, again like I told you, and left the floor just bare wood, painted it a light blue color, painted all the walls white. Amazing how much it brightened up the space. Again, I don't know what was on this carpet, but it could have been animals, could have been something. The carpet was just awful. So came out to be a beautiful, beautiful bedroom. I love the fact that there were the two closets there on the right hand side and with those nice bifold doors that open right up. Here's another one of the bedrooms. This one was full of nicotine, sadly. Walls needed about 4 coats of paint with the Kills product, and just totally brightened up the space. Took up that carpet, put down a new vinyl floor over there as well. Love how that room come out. What a change. Here's a small bedroom. There's a little skylight there on the wall, as you can see. Skylight was leaking a little bit, so I had a roofer go up and fix all that, and then we could then go ahead and just paint everything white. Put a small little day bed of sorts in there. On to, of course, another bedroom. It's towards the front of the house. And so, my goodness, there's a lot of bedrooms. Yes, there was a lot of bedrooms in this house. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, could be 5 bedrooms you'd call it, but some kind of like an office. This one actually still had the original floors, which I did not sand, I just repainted. This was the hands room. Someone had thought that it was really cool and fun to put their handprints up on the walls. And again, used the Kills product here. Took 5 coats to go over all these handprints because it was in dark black. But ended up bringing that room back to life, making it into an office. And then because this room doesn't have a technical closet in it, this room and the room right next to it, used them both as an office. So again, pulled up the carpet here, painted all the walls white, new blinds, new window treatments, new flooring, and made it into a second office. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms, 2 offices. Here's that hallway with all that peeling off wallpaper and that crazy smelly rug. Again, all of that went bye-bye. Painted everything up. Again, this side of the house was the older side of the house. It still had the original flooring, which I painted. Here is the upstairs bath, again with those 2 sinks. And so remember, there's a downstairs full bath. There was an upstairs full bath as well. I love this little hutch that I picked up at TJ Maxx in between the 2 sinks there. Nice to hold towels and stuff. This is going back to the outside of the house now. Again, that kind of dark, abandoned, dingy look. And then this is after. Just some painting, power washing, cleaning, taking care of the property. Really brought all the roses back in. Once they just grew, it was amazing. The look of the house just changed completely. Beautiful, fun project to do. Totally brings lots of pride and joy. And I hope lots of love to the new owners. So thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Give me any ideas that you might have. And I appreciate you all. We'll see you in the next one.